Hey everybody, my name is Darren Wombold, and I'm a user experience designer at RunSignUp. For today's design showcase, part 3, we're going to be talking about the registration path. And if everybody's ready, I'll go ahead and get started here. So one thing that we've really been trying to do this year is we've been having a huge focus on user experience for our platform. And this is part 3 of talking about what we've been working on this fall. The first 2 design showcases focused on some of the updates to the admin area and the dashboard that Jeff's been working on. Meredith spoke a couple weeks ago about the updates that we've been making to the profile and the badges, and I'm going to be covering our registration path. And we've got lots of good stuff coming down the road, so we're very excited to be updating the platform. And these sessions are designed to inform everybody of the changes that we're making and to really get good feedback from you. So please, if you have any questions at the end of the webinar, please let me know. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. So first of all, I just wanted to start off with, why did we redesign the registration path? I'm sure everybody can think of plenty of good reasons of why we should. Or why we did, but I just kind of wanted to go over some of the thought process that we had when we entered into this. So first of all, clarity. We wanted to kind of help reduce the clutter on the registration path, make it cleaner and easier for participants to register for the events. And consistency. As we redesign the platform and add new designs, we want to try to reuse some of the designs that we're using throughout the platform to make it more familiar to everyone and have more common design elements spread throughout our platform. Third, we want to make it fun and friendly. We want people to be pleased when they come through the registration path and have a good time. The fourth thing is we want to make sure that it's mobile. More and more people are using their phones and tablets to navigate the web and to sign up for events, and that was something that was very important to us. So we made sure that we really focused on that with this redesign. So some of the highlights for the redesign is we took it out of the race website, and that's something I can kind of jump over here real quick. So this is the old registration form, and as you're all probably familiar, it was embedded into more of the race website. So you had a lot of navigation. There were a lot of elements around it, which causes distraction while people are registering. So by making it full screen, we were able to really focus people on registering and hopefully get higher conversion rates and get people registered easier and quicker. We also just completely revamped the design and added a lot of new options for theming that kind of key right in with your color scheme that you've already created. The final big piece that we did is we did a complete redesign of the checkout page. We reorganized it and added a few fun features to that page. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in and start kind of walking through a registration. Let me get back to my event here. Okay, so I'm already logged in as myself, so I'm going to go ahead and do new registering. So just taking a look at the first screen here, and kind of starting up at the top. So what we did is we took the color scheme from the main race website and integrated it right into this full screen registration path. So we took your primary color and created a gradient based off of that color, and that is being used for the header area. We also brought in the branding, location, and also a way to get back to the race website. And also with the form, we really opened it up. We did a lot of reworking of the form elements themselves to make them much cleaner and easier to read. And one thing of note, if you remember, in the old registration, we had the previous participant link. And what that did, if you remember, is that it will bring up the pop-up to choose another sub-account from your profile for easier sign-up. We felt that that was a little confusing and a little hard to understand for users. So we changed the terminology a little bit, and we changed previous participant to quick fill. So now when someone comes here and they're logged in, you can easily see, choose a profile to fill in their information. So if I already have a profile, say my wife or my kids, I can click quick fill, and I can jump in here and pick one of my sub profiles and populate them right in. So it's just a little bit easier to understand. One of the other things that we did is we are, and you will see this kind of throughout the registration and also in other areas of the platform. We're bringing in a new design element, which we've kind of called the event tiles. And that's these boxes here with the themed gradient border at the top. So this will be kind of a reoccurring design theme that you will see that will indicate that you're choosing an event. So I'm going to go ahead and select an event here. And as you can see, we have the group team feature here. This was another area that we paid some attention to and redesigned a little bit. We heard from several people that it was very hard for participants to understand exactly what this feature did because of the way that it was worded. So what we did is we added the word join here and some iconography to make it a little bit easier to understand exactly what you're doing with this design element here. So it's pretty clear that you can join a team here. So in addition to that, we also revamped this a little bit. We brought our gradient in here, and that's kind of going back to bringing in common design elements from the rest of the platform, and reorganized this a little bit so it's a little bit easier to understand. Keep going on here. It's like I've already signed up for this with this participant, so I'm just going to start with a new person here. And as you can see, all of the all the form elements have been all redesigned here. So the drop-downs have a custom look to them. We've gone through and really tried to pay a lot of attention to all the different form pieces to make sure that they've been updated. Some of the elements, such as the fundraising and donation areas, we did not dive into as much with this release. That's something that we will be revisiting, and we will be coming back to this at some point in the near future, and we'll do a similar redesign of those areas. Another thing that we did was just kind of cleaning up this area a little bit. We added some design elements here just to make these a little bit easier to see. And I'm on a test environment, so this won't render out. So here we are on the checkout page. And in this area, what we really tried to do, we really tried to bring in some of the different design elements here from our profile area. So as you can see, we sprinkled in some iconography here. We also did a lot of other things to just really reorganize this. We brought the card in over to the right-hand side to help kind of bring everything up to the top of the page. Sorry, I had a question here. I'll address the questions when we get towards the end. So everything was just very cleaned up here and reorganized. Another thing that we did was we took a special look at the credit card area and reworked and redesigned how this is laid out here, so it's much clearer and easier to look at. And we also added this really fun element of this interactive credit card here. So as you enter in your credit card number, it actually will understand based off of the first 4 numbers what credit card you're putting in, and it will update and show you the credit card. And it also puts all your information in here too. So your name will show up, the expiration date. So it's just kind of a fun element, and it just kind of helps reinforce that you're putting in your information properly for your credit card. And it even flips over for the CVV number, which is kind of fun. And we also went through, there were just some little things in here that we went through and cleaned up also and reorganized these, so they're more defined and easier to read through. So that's the new checkout page. A lot of the same functionality, but it looks much better and much easier to read. I'm going to go ahead and go to the checkout page. Oops. So we did some similar updates on the confirmation page too. So on the confirmation page, we added this kind of new congratulations section up at the top. We have a fun little icon here celebrating that you've registered. And then we have some follow-up items here. You can go back to the race website if you want to read more about the race that you've just signed up for. And we also have a way, if you've clicked off of the refer pop-up that came up, to get back to that again if you missed it. And then we have a lot of the same information here designed the same way. And we also have our event tile styles here, which was brought in here. So we really had a great time redesigning this. It was a fun challenge, and we hope that everybody really appreciates the new design and will enjoy it. So I'll go ahead and take a few questions now if anybody had any questions about the registration. And then I'm going to take a couple minutes to talk about some new upcoming stuff that we have coming in the next month or so, which will be the redesign, or actually not a redesign, but a new option for the race websites, which would be a new template. So let's see. If anybody doesn't have any questions, I'll go ahead and move on. So for the kind of coming up, I kind of covered this stuff already. The new race website template, and I'm just going to give you guys a quick glimpse at this. We're currently in production working on this new feature, and we're really excited to get this out because I think it will make a huge impact on how you manage and use your race websites, and it will even, I think, for some clients, it will even replace their current website, is what we're hoping. So it's just us trying to come up with some new innovative ways to give you guys new tools to use for your events. So this is the design for our current race website. I'm going to go in, and again, this is in my test environment, so this will not be available for you guys right now if you try to come in and do this. So I'm going to go to race template, and I'm going to switch to our new template. So this is all of the same information, but it's being restyled and redesigned into a new template that we're working on. And I'll just kind of quickly go over this, and if anybody has any questions or anything, please let me know. So our big goal with this was to come up with something that was a little bit more modern looking, something more dynamic, enabling the use of a larger image, and just a more modern, cleaner looking website. So we've gone with more of a horizontal navigation at the top with some nice drop-downs. And if you do have a long navigation, we are going to be using what we have here is this more link. So if you have many navigation items, we're going to limit what you have up here to the first 5. And then when you click on this, we will reveal the rest of your navigation. So we think that's really cool, and it's a kind of a fun way to handle the navigation. And then kind of bringing in from what we did and what I talked about in the race registration, we have the event tiles, which have a very similar look and feel to them as what you saw in the registration. So that's kind of what I mentioned about you'll be seeing this more and more throughout the platform. And that's kind of going back to creating, a very consistent look throughout the platform. And just a couple other neat features that we're going to be using for this is we will also be giving you the opportunity to not only have this large image area here with the race information overlaid, but if you have an image that has a lot of logos and text, or if you really just want to focus on your image and not have it overlaid, we're going to have an option for an alternate layout. As you can see here, I just updated it, that will leave the image untouched and then puts the race name and the other information below it. And we'll also have an option if you want to hide the race name, you can do that also. And this is, I can kind of show you here, this is all responsive. So when you get down to phone size, everything shrinks down, and the navigation disappears, and we get this nice hamburger icon with all your navigation in the side here. So this is a really great feature for mobile devices, and it makes it very easy to have large navigation easily accessible. So we're really excited about that new feature. So that's everything I have right now. Does anybody have any questions about the new registration path or the race website? Let me kind of go through the questions here and take a look. If you were, I'm kind of looking at comment from Julie Stark. My existing page doesn't have the new look. If you want to switch to the new registration path, which is what I'm assuming you're referring to, you can easily switch that right now. If you go to the race page and race theme page and scroll down right below the race logo area, you'll see an area that says registration design. If you click full screen registration and then save, you will get the new registration path design. And we will be probably in the next week or two, I believe, we are going to start switching it so any new events will start getting the new registration path. And then eventually we will switch it over so all the registration paths will have this new look. And Julie also asked about, does this new look work on desktop computers or tablets? It works on both. So we've totally made this responsive. I can kind of show you really quick here. So if we go down to like an iPad size, get this switched here, so there we go. So iPad, it would look like this. iPhone 7. So as you can see, it reconfigures for the device. And the other thing we also did is we changed the back to website button and minimized it and made it just a small button up here. So it's really easy to see on a phone. Just looking through some more questions here. Katie Sullivan had a good question. As you create new races or renew past races, are there any changes on the back end we should be aware of? No, I don't think so. If you do see any problems, please contact your account manager. But this was very much kind of a front-end redesign. All the functionality of the current registration is still there, and everything should work exactly the same, just look better. As far as when will we see the changes take place, you can, as I had kind of mentioned, you can switch to the new look now, and coming up we will be switching over completely to this. Just Going through a few more questions here. We have a question from Jim Gerwick. He mentioned on the new page template, are there any scaling issues with the image? On the new template, all the existing images will work. We're working very hard to make sure that all of that will work just fine. There will be, when you get down to phone size, there is a little bit of clipping on the right and left side. So that's just something to be aware of when you're designing the images to go in there. And when will the new template be available? We are shooting for the very beginning of January, so be looking out for that. It should be coming out soon. Okay, is there any other, did anybody have any other questions? Well, I really appreciate everybody. We had a lot of people here today, so I really appreciate everybody's time today. I had a great time going through the new design. And like we said, we're very excited to be releasing these new features, enhancements on the platform, and be looking out for more great stuff in the future. You know, if anybody has any questions that they think of after the webinar, please feel free to contact your account manager. One of the things that's very important to us is getting feedback and hearing from everybody, which really helps us make the platform better. So thank you again for everybody, and I will talk to everyone soon. And don't miss the next webinar, which I believe is in a couple weeks on analytics.